you're not going to get as much regen as the one pedal drive. And well, let's actually pop into the power mode. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we are finally going to be reviewing the all-new Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. I've been waiting forever to review this vehicle as soon as I saw that Mitsubishi was going to build a plug-in hybrid. But before we get into this video, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get right into it. So we're starting in the garage here because I want to quickly show you guys the fact that, yes, this is a plug-in hybrid, and so you can charge it just like an electric vehicle. It comes with a charger from the factory, which is really cool. Now, I do not have upgraded outlets, and so I'm really curious to see if I was able to get a full charge with this while having it plugged in overnight, because I started from zero. Well, I guess first off, we got to pull this out, which is actually super easy, and something that I've noticed is this actually has two separate little outlets, which is pretty cool. So you've got options with the Outlander here, which is pretty neat. I'm not sure what that's all about, but here you go. So the moment of truth. Pretty cool animation. This is such a weird review because I'm kind of doing things like all over the place, but yes, we have a full charge. So even without upgraded outlets, if you plug it in overnight, then you can get a full charge every single time. That is cool. And you guys can see it's cold too, so like, fantastic. So we have a naturally aspirated 2.4 liter 4-cylinder that's paired to a 1-speed automatic transmission and a hybrid system. If you're wondering, battery capacity with this is 20 kilowatt hours. Now, the MPG rating is 64. If you just have gas power alone, you should be able to average about 26 miles per gallon between highway and city. Now, in terms of power outputs, the engine itself puts out 132 horsepower and 144 pound-feet of torque. Once you add in the hybrid component part of it though, total system output is 248 horsepower and then 332 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go to the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So first off, I really like this color. It's pretty cool looking. And then you guys can see you've got the Outlander logo there in the center. And then coming down below, this looks just like any other Outlander. So you guys can see you've got like the blacked out grille with some chrome accenting. You've got the LED headlights there, got some fog light action down below. And then you can see the chrome trim that kind of makes a loop around. And then you do have parking sensors on the front end. And you know, putting it all together, I do think that the Outlander is a pretty good looking vehicle. Coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 255, 45, 20 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see with the wheel design, you've got like the silver on the top with the black below that, and I think it looks pretty cool. Notice that like sharp body line there in the fender. Then you guys can see the little fender flares. We have our plug-in hybrid EV badge here on the side, and then notice the mirrors and the door handles are body painted. And then taking a look at the full side profile here, you guys can see you've got that like chrome trim that is all along the side. I think that looks really good. And again, the side of the Outlander, it looks cool. So here's a key fob for the Outlander. You guys can see you've got the Mitsubishi logo there at the top. We have our lock function, unlock function, and then the opening for the hatch. Now, popping into the rear, this is the bag for the charging port and all that. It's just kind of torn apart because, well, that's what I did last night to get it open. And then you guys can see you got these cool floor mats, say Outlander on it. It has like the blue trim, which is generally a hybrid color. We have these latches right here to throw down these seats. And then if I actually lift this up, this is the third row. Now, first off, I love that Mitsubishi lets you like fold the third row all the way into the floor so that you get a regular cargo area. Secondly, I'm not so sure why they even put a third row on this. Like, I understand that it adds to the practicality, but at the same time, it's such a small third row that, like, outside of very small children that should probably be in a car seat anyways, you're not really going to be able to fit too many people back there. Now you guys can see the lock function here, and then you can press that, and that'll lower the hatch. Pretty cool looking taillights here on the Outlander, and of course we have our super all-wheel control sticker so they can flex their system. And then notice we have our SEL PHEV badge right there, and then Outlander there on the other side. Parking sensors here at the bottom, and notice that the exhaust tip doesn't poke out or anything. And putting it all together, I do think that the new Outlander is a very handsome looking vehicle, frankly. Now, popping over the door panel, it's actually pretty impressive. So you've got a sunshade here in the back, and then look how much padding you have. And look at like the stitching, how that matches the brown padding down below. It just looks really cool. And then I love the trim around the door handle. And look, even the window control just like looks and feels nice. And yes, carbon fiber print. Now the seats continue that cool theme. You guys can see the quilted design with the brown stitching. I mean, again, for being, you know, an economy car, this has a really nice interior. Now, when it comes to legroom, it's actually really good here in the second row. And then you guys can see got a little storage pocket here. I've got my own vents here in the back. I have my own climate control as well, and heated seats. And then headroom's also solid. Keyless entry. Now with the front door panel, it continues the theme with the cool brown stitching and padding and everything. And then look at all the window controls, they look really nice. And by the way, they're all automatic. You've got, again, that carbon fiber print. You've got the mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, by the way. And then you have memory seat functionality. And then you can see you've got blind spot monitoring with the mirror too. With the front seat, again, it has that brown stitching, and then look at the quilted design down below, and notice how it's perforated in the center. And yes, we do have massage seat function, and then the seats are power adjustable. So you guys can see we've got some controls down here, like opening the hatch, the gas cap release, and then stuff for like the charging port as well. And then also the heads up display. And then notice the steering wheel is manually adjustable. And this is pretty cool. You got more of that brown trim here, and then look at the stitching, and then again with the carbon fiber print. So starting with the steering wheel, we've got really nice padding all around, and I love how it's perforated here on the sides to get a slightly better grip, and frankly it just feels cool. Now this does have adaptive cruise control as well as steering assist, and I can tell you that it's actually been a pretty good system. Not perfect, but it does a pretty good job. And then you got some controls for the center stack, and then we actually have paddle shifters. I'll show that during the driving portion. And then you guys can see we have our light stock and then our windshield wiper stock. Now we've got this full digital gauge cluster, which looks really cool. Notice we've got a little charge area off to the side, and you guys can see EV. So basically it lets you know if you're charging, if you're in the EV mode, or if you are, using engine propulsion. And then you guys can see it says that we have 69 miles of stated range. Now what the window sticker says is that this is rated for 38 miles. So yeah, apparently you can get better than what the window sticker states. And then being an Outlander, it still has some pretty cool modes. So we have our tarmac mode, you've got your gravel mode, your snow mode, your mud mode. And then the other side, we actually have an eco mode, and then we have a power mode as well. And trust me, we'll use the power mode in today's video. So we've got this 360 camera system. You guys can see the backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And you also have that bird's eye view as well. And if I actually put it in park and press the camera button right here, you guys can see, got all your different viewpoints here. So it shows you all around the car. Now, this is obviously a unit shared with Nissan. I like that you have analog controls for the volume and for the radio. It seems like that's hard to get from automakers nowadays. But anyways, it functions great. It's easy to use, and so yeah, it's good. And then you probably saw in the background, you got more of that nice padding with the brown stitching, and then you guys can see the brown trim down below. And I love how they connect the vents with that line. And yes, the passenger has memory seats as well as power seats and massaging seats. So you guys can see we've got our dual zone climate controls down below. We also have heated seats here for the front, and then a heated steering wheel as well, and a camera that can't focus. Now we have our charging area down below, some USBs and a wireless phone charging pad. I will say the wireless phone charging pad works sometimes, doesn't work all the time though. So we've got our shifter here to put it into gear. Notice we have the B mode. We'll use that a little bit later. This is for your one pedal drive right here, and then that's your EV mode. You guys can see the parking brake right here, your auto hold, and then your drive mode select. It also has hill descent control as well, which is pretty cool. And then we've got some cup holders here, and then look at the nice padding with the center console. Decent storage space. I almost forgot. Glove box. So up top, you guys can see we've got controls here for the sunroof, full panoramic sunroof, if you're wondering. So here's our window sticker for this Outlander plug-in hybrid. You guys can see they list out quite a bit so that you know everything that this has. Now notice that also you get a full tank of gas, which is pretty cool. We do have some options on this, like the SEL Premium package, for example. But anyways, after all options, you can see total MSRP $50,880. If you didn't want the options, base MSRP $45,445. And well, let's see how this thing drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, and hopefully you can now see the heads-up display. Both the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear. And I guess we'll see if I can get off my front yard, because lots of snow. So setting off here in the Outlander plug-in hybrid, and actually I'm gonna turn on my massaging seat, because we gotta get a massage while I review this. So I mentioned the paddles earlier. Basically how this works is if you're not in one pedal drive and you want to do the regen yourself, then you put it in the B mode and then you press the paddles, and if the B has a higher number next to it, which it maxes out at 5, that means you're going to be getting more regeneration. That being said, the one pedal drive is way more aggressive with the regen than the B mode is. If you have it in just B mode, you're not going to get as much regen as the one pedal drive. And well, let's actually pop into the power mode. So you guys can see it's not like insanely fast from an acceleration perspective, especially when you compare it to some modern EVs. But, you know, for being ultimately like an economy 3-row SUV that happens to have a bunch of luxury features, it actually does a really good job with the acceleration. And we'll actually be able to get a stop from a standstill up here because we've got this red light. But I want you guys to see here, I'm in the one pedal drive. Okay, not in the brake at all. This is like, it has just as much aggressive, or its regen is just as aggressive as an electric vehicle. Apparently I'm struggling to talk today, but you guys get the point. So it's pretty cool. It drives actually very similar to an electric vehicle. You can see initially you get like a punch, and then, and you know, the 4-cylinder, it does kind of, you know, do 4-cylinder stuff where it's, you know, a little bit noisy. But anyways, we're gonna pop it into the eco mode. That's the mode that I typically have it in. And this thing's really comfortable. Suspension's great, seat comfort's great. Again, you got that massage seat function, which definitely is a nice thing to have. I mean, it just makes, like, I don't know, the overall driving experience a lot better. And you know, when it comes to overall economy, you guys can see, again, this has not been charged at all. Last night was the first time that I charged it, and 27 miles per gallon without charging it. So you can get what the EPA rates it at if you don't get any sort of charge out of the system. But obviously if you charge it, then that means that, well, you can get much better economy. And something that I want to mention is I drove well over 100 miles yesterday with this, and it was super efficient, honestly. Like, I noticed that having it in the one pedal drive, it basically, like, there was so many, again, not having any charge at all, there were so many times where it was just on battery power, even on the interstate, because, you know, it was, you know, using the regen and everything to get at least a little bit of charge. And so now that I have it fully charged, I mean, it's pretty much just EV mode all the time. If I punch it, obviously it'll, you know, start to use the engine a bit, but this pretty much drives just like any, you know, like most plug-in hybrids. And if I actually press the EV mode, and you notice here, you guys can see, I should have shown this in the walk around. I'm a casual. You guys can see you've got normal, you've got EV, and then you've got save and charge in terms of the mode. So if I just have it in the EV mode, then it'll focus on just obviously keeping the battery on. And so, yeah, overall, super impressed with this. And I really do think this is like the future of cars. I don't think that EVs are the future because, you know, range anxiety and all that kind of stuff, and charging infrastructure, like, this works with our current infrastructure because you can charge it at home so that you get, you know, that electric driving range, but then you also can just fill it up at a gas station as well. And so, you know, this, I don't know, I feel like this is the best of both worlds. It helps make it so vehicles are more economical, more environmentally friendly, whatever, you know, buzzword you want to use, but then it also is still practical. Like, especially if you live out in the middle of nowhere, like, you could still you can still get to places, right? Because you can fill up at a gas station if you're running out of gas. So yeah, huge fan of this. I think Mitsubishi did a great job, and let me know what you guys think about it. I think this thing's pretty sweet. I'm really impressed. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this Outlander plug-in hybrid. Let me know what you guys think about it, and with that being said, I'll see all of you in the next video.